Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown, Jonathan Taylor.
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, fires the three, and
He hit it.
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you from high atop the 18th fairway here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte from Outsider, always with me. Looking forward to another fun day. A little bit of big-time news that we'll be talking about, of course, as more chatter about the Indiana-Kentucky basketball series yesterday, as John Calipari makes a statement at SEC Media Days, which pretty much solidifies that, not that it's set in stone, but it's happening. You know, plenty more to talk about as well. Looking forward to talking to, I know that Dustin's looking forward to talking to Chris Denari.
Yes.
But the Pacers didn't they get shellacked?
No, well, they only lost by a couple points. They were down by 18 in the fourth quarter.
Oh, that's right. They made that run.
Cut it down to 3 points with a chance to tie within the last 30 seconds. But they missed, and the rest is history.
Matt Taylor's on the program today as well, coming off a Colts win. Looking forward to that. But, of course, we'll be talking, and we'll have some clips from who was that I set up yesterday, John, that we did not have time to play? I know there's one from Mike Woodson.
A little bit of Mike Woodson, I believe.
Was there someone else?
We can find someone else, but
no, I was just thinking there was
Mike Woodson.
I was just thinking there was. Never mind. And again, our thoughts out to JD Campbell, SID for IU basketball. Hope he's doing well. I know he's under the weather, been under the weather, so we're thinking about him. Hopefully he can get back to doing his job, making our job easier as soon as possible. We appreciate him. Hey, and for you golfers, the Eagle Point has an incredible, they call it the Gold Anniversary membership going on right now. It's a one-time payment of $299, and that covers your green fees for the next 2 years, starting this January 1st, all the way. There you go. You see it if you're watching on YouTube. But it covers your green fees through December 31st of 2024. That's 2 full years. You just have to pay the card fee, but you can book your times a week in advance, and even on weekends and holidays, you can start at 10 a.m., man. The sale is already underway. There's a limited number of them. When they're gone, they're gone. But, yeah, that's a Platinum Anniversary membership sale begins on 10/6 as well. That's a bigger membership. I'm not sure what all that entails. You can find out at eaglepoint.com, though. The weather is going to be pretty nice this weekend. Climbing back up into the 70s around here, which will be wonderful. Indiana football on the road at Rutgers. Got some peeps jumping on the Andy Moore Honda hotline already. 5 lefts. Michael, the music man. Larry. Tim. Pete. Nathan. How are you, sir? Pete noting the rough start by the Pacers. He might start to believe in Kravitz. You're just now believing in Kravitz. It's happening, man. The tank is happening. They don't have to do it on purpose. That's the great thing. They don't have to do it on purpose. And I love that. I love that they can play, because you know what? I remember telling my daughter this when she was younger in soccer. They were always playing up a lot, and they got beat a lot then. I go, don't worry. I said, this is going to come around for you all. Especially in the tournaments, they would play up a lot. And it did. It just hardened them and made them a lot better. So Rudy the Boxer's on. Mike, Ryan. Let's see, Mike down in French Lick, land of the legend. Yes, sir. How are you guys doing down there? Yep, Ryan is heading into Bloomington. He's come in to play some golf in the area, so good for him. Looking forward to that.
This is going to be one of the best weekends to get out. One of the last times of the year.
Yep. Tim points out that the number one pick, Paolo Banchero, scores 27 points in his debut, most points by a number one rookie since Allen Iverson. How about that? Now,
impressive.
It is impressive. That is impressive. I'm sitting here thinking, all right, the league's not quite the same as it was in '96. Is it a tougher league right now? I don't know. I mean, well, I'm not gonna discount it anyway. It's right. It is what it is. It's the most since Allen Iverson. So what else are you gonna say? Right.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's a pretty impressive mark, no matter what it was. And then I think last night, Jaden Ivey I think he had 17 points. He had a pretty good stat line in his first NBA game too. So rookie's showing up early.
Well, we've been talking about this in all of sports. There is a youth movement.
Yep.
I don't know why. And I don't care what we're talking about, whether it's NASCAR or NFL. And you want to talk about apples and grapes. NASCAR and the NFL or NBA are apples and grapes.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near the same.
And
but
Benedict,
but it's a youth movement in every one of them.
Yep. And Benedict Mathurin, the Pacers rookie last night, had 19 points. So what I think, you have all these camps now. You have all of these travel ball for so many different sports, 7-on-7 for football. You just have these kids constantly playing, and they're playing for scholarships. They're trying to get better so they can get to the NFL. They're getting elite level training. I just think all that factors into where you don't have to wait 2 or 3 years to get your name called anymore. Once you step on the floor, they expect you, or the floor or the field or whatever, they expect you to perform. I would say baseball is probably the only sport in which you're still going to the AA, AAA, something along those lines.
It still takes.
Yes.
There's still a learning curve in baseball for the moment. Yep. Will that change? But yeah,
that's a good question.
But yeah, there's still a learning curve, man. Baseball's the only sport that still has that level of growth. Single A, double A, triple A.
Right.
There's so many layers. Major League Baseball is like an onion. There are so many layers of their leagues. It's crazy, but yeah, they still have that. And I guess that's sustainable because of the system that they've set that up in, with what's putting these teams in cities that will support them enough to where it sustains them, and the team can support them enough to where it sustains them.
Unless you're in Miami or Oakland.
That's sad.
It is.
Miami should be able to support anything, but. And Miami should be a baseball town with all the Hispanic influence there. Baseball is a Hispanic sport. There's probably more Hispanics than, I don't know. Are there more Hispanics than say Americans?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's got to be close.
There's definitely a lot of influence from South and Central America.
Absolutely.
But I don't know what the numbers are, but it's obviously it's a very popular sport. So it's always been very interesting because the Marlins have never really gotten support, even when they won the World Series. In what was it? They won it in 2003 and then 95 or 97, something like that. there's been interesting conversations about how they really still don't get support from 1 year to the next. I think it was actually in that Derek Jeter documentary where he talked about ownership and how they didn't have that sustained support from 1 year to the next. So it's just, I think it's partly because it's just been such a poorly run organization for so long that people don't believe in it. I know there was some criticism about the new ballpark and all that stuff. I don't know, man. And then it just seems like Oakland, to go on the other side of the coast, seems like they just want out. Like they're trying to get a stadium in Vegas. They're trying to move out of Oakland, get to Vegas, and set up shop there. I don't know that that's the case, but that's just what it seems like with all the way they've kind of pushed their fans away.
I'm watching a clip on Instagram right now from a Memphis game last night, and I don't know who it is, but it's pretty funny. It looks like a veteran is walking down the bench, and one of the underlings is toweling himself off. He takes the towel from that guy, hands it to another dude, as if you ain't done jack. This guy's been working hard.
Sure. Yeah.
I wish I knew who that was. But that's funny.
I did not see that.
Number 4 for Memphis.
I'd have to. I don't know numbers very well. I'd have to see
I don't
that.
either. It's pretty funny. It just happened to pop up. So just looking at something, but yeah, that's funny. That stuff still goes on, man. That was a veteran saying no. Took the towel out of the dude's hand and handed it to somebody else.
I did not see.
That's
I'm going to
cool.
see if I can find that. That sounds pretty good. Sounds entertaining.
OG Anunoby scored 18 points in 38 minutes in his first game last night, so that's good. Wyatt thinks Mathurin and Halliburton look great together. Had an offensive rating of 113. League had an offensive rating of 108 last year. Yeah, that's that right there, and that's something to we can talk to Chris about. And I don't know if you saw my tweet. No, I was a text to you, wasn't it? But I got to write that down for our friend when he's on. But your love of the Pacers yesterday, if you missed it, and if you didn't watch on YouTube, you couldn't see that Dustin he looked like a Pacers ball boy. He had the hat, the jersey. I'm sure he was wearing the shorts and the underwear too.
Oh yeah.
But what I was going to ask is maybe we can get Chris Denari to put in a good word and get you a tryout to be a ball boy.
There we go.
For a game. Or
maybe I could just do the layup line. Just one time the layup line.
Nah, that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening.
Come on.
First of all, that would be like a comedy show.
It would be. See, I'm putting butts in the seats.
Yeah, we'll let's see. I got to write this down. Dustin, ball boy. I got to remember that. Ball boy Pacers.
I like
I wonder if I was allowed to call it ball boy. Do you got to call it a ball person?
I think people still say ball boy.
I would hope, because if it's a girl, I'm gonna say ball girl. If it's a boy,
right.
I'm gonna say ball boy. I mean, it's not. I'm not getting into that he/she thing, man. If it's a he, you're a he. If it's a she, you're a she. Larry said he scored 10 in the fourth quarter. Not sure who he's talking about, but we've got to take a break regardless. Matt Taylor from the Colts is with us today. We'll talk to him. Look forward to what the Colts are up to next. Brought to you by our better friends at BB's Market, where I am normally at on Fridays. I will not be there tomorrow, but we'll return next week. I have someplace I have to be tomorrow after the show that won't allow me to do that. I'll be on assignment, but I'll be with you. But we're back right after this from, again, brought to you by BB's Market. Stop by there or reach out to them at visit bbsmarket.com for the best in custom meats, in-house made products, and a full bakery. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're a business.
Oh, Matt Taylor and the call heard round the world.
What is that?
You haven't seen his call of that last touchdown for the Colts went viral, man.
No, I didn't see that.
Well, we've got to have that.
Yes, if you have it, Dustin, email it to me and I'll get it up as quickly as I can.
I have to find the.
Just Google.
I'm Googling it now. It was the combination of the call and his reaction.
Because I could potentially add it to the intro and replace his other one if it's that, good.
Where is it? What? Damn it. Okay. John Alden. Why? What's your email? Why will this not populate? Here, let me just reply to this. This is a tweet, so hopefully you can see it. Let me know if you get it or don't get it.
Would you send it on Twitter?
No, I sent it to you in your email.
Okay. Okay, yes. Here we go. I see that. All right, it's gonna take me a second or two to get it converted to an audio thing. Actually, I might just be able to play it straight out of here. Let me see how this sounds. I'm gonna back out of here so I can go over. Okay, yeah, we'll just play it from where you sent it to me. That was simple.
Beautiful.
We'll wait till he shows up, obviously, but just remember, I've got it ready, locked and loaded, Jim, whenever you want it to play.
Perfect.
Oh, and that reminds me, that clip that you emailed me, it was of the recruit. We have that as well for later. I just thought about that. I don't remember who it was about.
That's what it was, and that's perfect to have it for today instead of yesterday.
This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, where each Wednesday at 7:05 you can find Don Fisher and Coach Tom Allen for Inside Indiana Football. I was there last night. Oh my, the catfish bites.
Ooh, that sounds
catfish.
Good.
Oh, this is an appetizer. The catfish bites with what do they come with? This Cajun dip sauce.
It's like a Cajun tartar sauce.
No, it's its own kind of Cajun. It's something that you would eat on a lot of different stuff. You're just like, ooh, like your pinky.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, is it like, oh, I hope there's some. Oh yeah, there's some left there. Yes, definitely. Don't see if yeah, catfish bites, breaded and fried catfish, side of Cajun ranch.
Oh, Cajun ranch. Okay, that sounds good. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I had that, but then I had I'll try to find it so I don't. Oh, the balsamic whiskey trout fillet.
Balsamic whiskey trout fillet. Okay.
Yeah. Do I need to say anything more?
No.
I mean, just let that marinate in your own mind. Sounds delicious because it is.
Yeah, it does sound delicious.
Hey, I mentioned, the Inside Indiana football. Well, gosh dang it. Inside Indiana basketball starts. When did Don tell us? Yes, when he was on with us?
Halloween, the 31st.
Oh, that's right. Good, great memory. Yeah, right around the corner. I mean, geez, what is this? The 19th, 20th, whatever. Yeah, we're at the 20th.
Yep.
So 11 days from now, Inside Indiana basketball will begin at Southern Stone, also with Don Fisher and Mike Woodson. So you can check that out each Monday at 7:05 at Southern Stone, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington. So there's that. John, hey, Matt's with us. Yeah, there you go.
Yo!
Well, he's always so sneaky. He doesn't have a picture up. Why don't you at least have a picture? Put up a picture of Howdy Doody or something.
Well, I'm not.
You scared him off. Now he doesn't have his audio.
Yeah, now he muted himself.
Oh no.
What happened?
Oh,
There,
now
you're
he's back.
I'm here.
You're
I'm
back.
here. I'm here. You got me?
Yeah, let's see it. So why don't put up a picture of Howdy Doody or
No. No. See, I'm not smart enough to do it, and I don't care enough. So that's how we've gotten here.
Dick Butkus, Peyton Manning, the sheriff.
I'm gonna put up a picture of you.
Man, we have enough of that. There's
Yeah.
people do
figured.
not need any more of that. That's
I
a fact.
figured.
Speaking of the sheriff, did you happen to see Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson hanging out with Trace's brother, Taven Jackson, down at Knoxville for Tennessee's big win over Alabama last week?
I did not see that. That's awesome. Oh, there you go. There you go.
They were down on the field after the game in that environment. But how can you imagine that? That has got to be the greatest environment in all of college football this year. I've said that several times,
Yeah.
but man, to get to take that in, be on the field, and then be in the locker room and get your picture with the sheriff, I'm like, I'm out. It's over for me. It's all I need.
That is the one thing that college football has on the NFL is I wish after like a game like last Sunday where the Colts win in close to walk-off fashion over the Jaguars, let all the season ticket holders rush the field. Let's have a bunch of 60-year-old men trying to tear down the goalposts at Lucas Oil Stadium, and take that bad boy over to the White River and dump it there. I mean, why? Colts fans of all ages can rejoice in that regard, not just students down at Tennessee. But no, an incredibly cool moment. I mean, I think, and I'm not an Alabama fan, but I think Alabama has ruined college football because of how good they are, and because of the dominance. And it's a total credit to them. It's a total credit to Nick Saban, but it's sort of a foregone conclusion that Alabama is going to be a number 1 or a number 2 seed in the college football playoff every year. So it's good to see some of these programs that have been chasing them over the last 10 years or so finally, get over that mountaintop.
Yeah, and NIL is going to continue to help that. I really do believe, but you're not going to topple Alabama anytime soon. They're not going to go away. They're not going to get worse. I just think other teams are going to slowly catch up to them. And that talent girl is going to be spread out a little bit more than everyone going to Alabama. Now that there's reasons to go other places, man, that win how much was that win by Tennessee worth over Alabama towards recruits? I mean, you can't buy that recruiting type of atmosphere.
No, you can't buy it in terms of the exposure for the university as well. I mean, I say it all the time that, athletics, that's a vehicle for academics. And I mean, I'm not at all trying to put, my Division III football prowess in the same bucket here, if you will, with Alabama and Tennessee. But I will say that at Franklin College, we finally had a decent year of football. By decent, I mean we went 8-2 and won the conference for the first time since the 80s. And applications for the college the year after was up 30%. And I don't think I don't think that's an accident.
You know what that's called? That's the Matt Taylor effect.
Well, there's that too.
Manchester College, now university, still waiting on that moment, Matt. It's been 3 decades or so. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
John, bust that clip out, John boy.
Lindsey stays in as the back to the right of Ryan. 3rd and 13 now for the Colts. 23 seconds left. Colts down by a point. 3 receivers to the left. Ryan throws down the near sideline looking for Alec Pierce. He's got it! Touchdown! Touchdown! Alec Pierce spikes it into the end zone. Touchdown on NDY. A 32-yard grab over the shoulder snag. Alec Pierce, 32-27 Colts.
That is why he's the best, folks. That is why he is the greatest, and we're so fortunate to have him. But how John left us, but I was going to say how that thing, John boy, how big has that gotten on social media?
I mean, it's got almost 5,000 likes, several hundred retweets. So yeah, it's gotten pretty
several
big. Several
hundred retweets.
That's just one version of it. It's like, does it surprise you, Matt, to see that go? Because it's not just the call; it's your
perfect
it's your actions
in every way.
The whole video. Like it got me excited, and I knew the result. Like, do you ever? Does it surprise you when you see something like that go viral? Because I thought there were some versions where it was over 5,000. Like it's a huge video.
Yeah, I think on Twitter, it's like.
Lost him again. Boy.
Hello. You got me okay
yeah,
now?
you're back. You're back.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I saw on Twitter it was like 100,000 views, and which just blows me away. I'm floored by it, and I hope more people are watching for the play than the actual, the goober calling the play in the booth. But it is cool. It's an idea that
it's a combination of both, my friend. You can't. The play is always great, but I will tell you this: the call probably is a higher percentage because the guy doing that, like your call or whomever it is, it just makes it indelible. The Gibson home run is not the same without Vin Scully's call. I don't care. There are so many other moments that are just not the same without the call that came with them. Don Fisher's call of certain things. That
Sure.
you know this. I mean, it's why you do what you do. But this is the people. This is why people like Matt are doing what they do or where they are. Man, they make those moments indelible. They make them better. They just add sauce to them, baby. They just add sauce to them.
Well, it's
start
funny.
calling you saucy.
We've seen other teams, do that, put like a camera or in this case, a GoPro in the radio booth. And, we've had some big moments already this year, and this team is, they are the cardiac Colts, down to the wire. You had the Stephon Gilmore pass breakup in the end zone against Denver. You had the Jelani Woods touchdown with, 20 seconds left against Kansas City. It's like, well, why don't we just put a GoPro in the booth, see what happens, and maybe we get some good moments. Maybe we don't, and who knows? And first game we did it, we get a game winner, which was incredibly cool. And I've caught a lot of grief from people that are making fun of my actions. Talking about the over the shoulder grab by Alec Pearson. I'm physically doing it. It's like I can't say it unless I do it. My brain's not big enough. I gotta say it. I gotta act it out in order for it to come out of my mouth. So it was just fun, and it's just a cool thing because we put a lot of work into it, and we have fun up there in the booth with Rick and myself and Larry on the field. So it was a kind of a cool thing to pull the curtain back a little bit, let people into the booth, see how it works, see the dynamic, and it's a whole lot of fun, man. It really is.
Yeah, we can't even get you to open your camera to put a picture up, man. You got a GoPro in the booth? Are you kidding me?
Someone else set it up. You kidding me?
Man. I see where we are. Chop liver, baby.
If you drive to Indy every Thursday at 8, whatever, and set this up, then we'll make it. We'll fire it up. We'll fire it up.
Nope. I'll send your dad to do it. Hey, I got to meet your dad last week.
Oh yeah.
Nice to finally meet him.
Pops Taylor, man. He's the man.
Pops Taylor. That's a great name right there. Pops Taylor.
Yep.
I like that. Go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to ask Matt, did it add? I'm sure it added to the excitement on Sunday. The Colts, who have struggled offensively through the first 5 games of the season, finally were able to get something going against Jacksonville. And in a clutch time situation in the game they really had to have. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be necessarily quite the turning point, but I think now that the Colts are starting to get a little bit of that chemistry, now they have a little bit of confidence that they can move the football. And that's going to be huge coming up for this game against Tennessee, because as poorly as they started the season, all of a sudden you win 2 division games back to back, you're 4-2-1. Things are looking a lot different than they were a few weeks ago.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, this team, believe it or not, if the playoffs started today, the Colts would be in. I mean, that's how much parity is in this conference, and there's not a lot of teams that are just going to, I think, run away from everybody. I know Kansas City's still pretty good. Buffalo, they might be the team that might separate themselves. They are a pretty they're a doggone good football team. But point is, the Colts still have everything in front of them, right? They can still win the division. They still have aspirations of making the playoffs. And this is a monster game. I don't know if it's a must-win game, but it's pretty close if they want to win the division for the first time since 2014. And I think there's a way to win every football game, and the Colts proved that last Sunday, because running the football against that Jacksonville front, that was going to be tough. The Colts found that out the hard way in week 2 down there, and so they changed up their approach. And I don't know if they anticipated throwing it 58 times like they did, but they knew they weren't going to be able to run it, 30 times, if you will, with Deion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay. So they trusted Matt Ryan to shoulder a lot of the responsibility in the passing game, and he carved them up. Pittman had 13 catches. Deion Jackson had 10. Paris Campbell had 7. Some big moments from Kylan Granson, Alec Pierce with a game winner. So he was spreading the football around, and the Colts were, using that short, quick passing game as extensions of the running game, which I thought they had to do in this game, or that game on Sunday, I should say. Now in this game on this Sunday, it's going to be really interesting to see how much of that, rolls over from Sunday to Sunday, because if you look at Tennessee, all of a sudden they're really, really good at stopping the run and not so good at stopping the pass. So I think the Colts want to be balanced. But at the end of the day, you just got to do what you got to do to win that football game, and statistics and trends and things like that, throw that out the window, especially in a division game that means so much. 2 teams that know each other so well. It just boils down to execution, taking care of the football. That's the biggest thing when the Colts play the Titans. The Titans are on a 4-game winning streak over the Colts, and in that time, the Titans have won the turnover battle in 3 of those 4 games. And if the Colts don't turn it over 3 times in a game played about 3 weeks ago at Lucas Oil Stadium against Tennessee, they probably win that game, because they held the Titans scoreless in the second half. The Colts, they rallied back but came up short. Tennessee, to their credit, made enough plays in the second half, but they didn't score any points. But the Colts were careless with the football. They had 3 turnovers, most of them coming or allowing Tennessee to take over in short fields and get some easy points in the first half. So there's no question they got to stop Derrick Henry. They got to take good care of the football, and we'll see how much of that passing game, that short rhythm, quick timing passing game, rolls over from last Sunday into this game.
How critical is it, too, that the Colts were able – wait, before he's got to show off his mug here.
Think fast, run fast.
You see, you got arm talent in the dictionary. Picture Chad.
This should say think fast, drink fast.
Is this a radio show or a YouTube show, or both? Because it's
become a comedy show. It's become a comedy show, unfortunately.
Somebody driving south on 37 here on going to Bedford has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, they can't see me holding up the Chad Powers coffee mug saying think fast, run fast. But some things don't need to be heard.
That's true.
Yeah, like you.
Like my voice, exactly.
I don't want to know. This might come across as bad, Matt, but kind of a blessing in this. It is a good way to start. I don't mean this the way it's going to sound, but I don't know how else to phrase it, because my brain doesn't function at 9 a.m. very well, which is problematic. But I mean, how impressive has it been, number one, and how important has it been that the Colts have found ways to win? Pretty ugly against Denver, a lot better actually against Jacksonville, but they found ways to win without Jonathan Taylor on the field. They found a way that they don't have to rely on him carrying the ball 30 times to get some wins. I have to imagine that when he's back in the lineup, they are going to have even more confidence on that side of the football, knowing they're going to have one of the best running backs in the league now, but they don't have to necessarily depend on him to win football games?
I think it's a great question, and I think it's a good little storyline going into this game, because last week there was no pressure to feed the running game, like I said, 25 times with Deion Jackson and Philip Lindsay, because those guys aren't Jonathan Taylor, and they were able to contribute, especially Deion Jackson catching the ball out of the backfield in the flats, swing patterns, and so it's not like, had the Colts. Let me put it this way: had the Colts lost that game, I don't think there was going to be a lot of people that were they'd be upset over the loss. There's no doubt about that. But I don't think there was going to be a lot of people screaming and yelling, saying, "Yeah, 58 pass attempts. You can't do that. You can't do that."
Right.
Well, right. I mean, it's sort of like the game last year, Thanksgiving weekend, the Sunday following Thanksgiving weekend, when the Colts played Tampa Bay. And remember that game? The Colts threw it all around the yard and sort of, quote unquote, abandoned the running game because they weren't going to be able to run the ball on Tampa's front, which was the best rushing defensive unit in the NFL. They had players like Golston and Vita Vea, just really hard to run against those linebackers and those defensive linemen. And so the Colts, they went to the RPO game and they slung it around the yard and they put up a lot of points and they moved the ball, but they didn't win that game because they turned it over. Now, the difference is the Colts didn't turn the football over in this game, and they won primarily with the passing game and 58 pass attempts. But if Jonathan Taylor's back on Sunday and the Colts go strictly to the air, is there going to be pressure from Frank because of how good Jonathan Taylor is and the player that he is? Is there going to be pressure to continue to feed Jonathan Taylor for the sake of giving him carries and the possibility of him breaking out long runs? I know they're a great front. Tennessee's got a great defense, but Jonathan Taylor's still good enough on his own, to individually make a play and rip off a 25-yard run or break one for a touchdown. So if he's out there, how much are the Colts going to continue to throw the ball around like they did last Sunday versus still, sticking true to a great player like Jonathan Taylor and give him touches for the sake of letting a great player make a great play? So that's an interesting dynamic, and I think you're right to bring it up, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Looking forward to the Colts trying to now win 2 in a row, win back-to-back.
3 in a row.
3 in a row. Wow.
Somebody get this guy a schedule.
Hey, man, I'm following IU and Indiana and the Colts, man. Give me a break. It's not been the funnest of times this season. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But no, the Colts are showing that they have. That's the difference between Indiana and the Colts. Indiana is like, man, they could have won this. They could have done this. The Colts are winning those coulda shouldas. They're getting that done. Last week's showing by Matt Ryan is probably the first game that people saw what they thought they were going to see from him from the start. Mm-hmm. And that's the same with Connor Bazelak from Indiana. His best game was last week in a losing effort, unfortunately for him. But as the quarterback, if that can continue, this Colts team can really start to pick up speed and head towards the playoffs, which is the goal, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously hasn't been perfect. It's been far from perfect so far, especially when you just focus on Matt Ryan with, he's got 11 fumbles. He's thrown 7 picks. He's been under duress. I mean, the offensive line.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Now, he hasn't lost all of them, but there's been 11 fumbles by the quarterback. And they've been lucky, I should say, to get a lot of those fumbles recovered. But if you just look at him statistically this year, he's having
a great year.
Sorry about that. My mic is going out on me. I apologize. But he's having a terrific season. I mean, he's number 2 in the NFL in passing yards. He's completing about 67% of his passes. And I said all along, before the season started, if you get a typical Matt Ryan type of season where he's throwing, for 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns and completing, at 67, 68% of his passes, which he typically does throughout the course of his career, the Colts were going to win 10 games, at least 10 games, make the playoffs and probably win the division. But he's trending to that or towards that. But the problem is the Colts have been uneven on offense, and you do have all the turnovers by Matt Ryan and the fumbles that have sort of negated the other really, really good stats. So you got to get those things cleaned up. But I think Matt Ryan has played more like the Matt Ryan they thought they were getting than not. And so it's a huge game this weekend. He's got to play well in order for the Colts to win. And the Colts have to win, I think, in order to win the AFC South.
What's up next for you, brother?
Just getting ready for Sunday. Big game, monster game. And so just doing my notes today on Tennessee offense and defense, getting the player bios, getting those maintained and put together, organized, and getting ready for Sunday.
Are they going to be able to stop the big guy, the train?
That's first and foremost. There's no doubt about that. You know, Derrick Henry has 6 100-yard receiving or 100-yard rushing games against the Colts in his career. It's interesting. The Colts defense since 2018, they've been really, really good. They've only allowed 7 100-yard rushing performances in that time, which is number 2 in the NFL, second least, if you will. And 5 of those 7 games have been by Derrick Henry. Yeah, and it's you can afford to give up an economical 100-yard game, if you will. I mean, if he rushes for 120 yards on 28 carries, you can live with that. But what you can't have happen is him, break off a 60-yard run or a 70-yard run and change the dynamic of the game early in the game. So that's the goal, no doubt.
I know you've got to go, and I actually forgot what I was going to say, so it doesn't matter. So I get to let you go.
Well, that's a hell of a way. That's a great way to end it. I love it. Jim forgot.
I'm too many things going on, but looking forward to the Colts heading. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Who is the last guy? Derrick Henry he's a beast. I mean, he's just truly a beast. Who was the last running back that was just a beast? I mean, because the running back is not a position any longer in the NFL that it's not as featured as it once was. But man, he has just been a beast.
Yeah, he is. We call him the steel horse. He's 6'3", 260, but he runs.
He's no Trojan horse. That's for damn sure.
He runs like a 4.6.
Oh my God!
You have to. You've got to tackle him low. And you got to have multiple people at the point of attack every single time he touches the football. And that's the thing. It's a 60-minute game when you play Derrick Henry. I mean, he leads the NFL in fourth quarter rushing yards since 2017. And that's not an accident because he can wear you down. Even if you do a good job on him in the first 3.5 quarters, well, guess what? There's still 6 minutes left. You're tired. You're worn out. You've already tackled him, 20 times. And that's when he breaks a long one on you. And that's the mentality that you have to have as a defense, that it's got to be 60 minutes plus. You have to take on the approach that you got to tackle him every single time, because that's what he does. I mean, he'll get hit at the line of scrimmage, but then fall forward for 3 yards, and then it's 2nd and 7. And then if you add that up over time, 3rd and 4, you hit him at, for a 1-yard pickup, but then he falls forward and gets a first down. So it all adds up. And that's sort of the hidden yardage that Derrick Henry is able to accumulate over the course of a game. So, yeah, that's a great word to put it, or way to put it. He's a beast. He's a stud. He's the steel horse. And Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry, I think the 2 best running backs in the league. And you got the last 2 Triple Crown winners, if you will, in rushing. And by Triple Crown, I mean rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns in the same season. Henry did it in 2020. Taylor did it in 2021. And for the second time in a month, you're going to have both those guys on the field at the same time.
Matt Taylor, the voice of the Indianapolis Colts. Make sure you give him a listen this Sunday as the Colts continue trying to look for their 3rd straight win. Brother, we appreciate you.
Anytime, guys. I appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. See you, Dustin.
You betcha. Have a great call. Matt Taylor joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We got lots more coming up here to talk about. We're going to hear from an IU basketball recruit, in addition to Mike Woodson. Chris Denari will join us later. And we're going to talk some recruiting, see what's happening there as well. Plenty more. Brought to you by GoTeam, a part of the WOW Club. Make sure you go to your Apple App Store, Google Play Store, sign up for the WOW Club. Start earning WOW rewards today. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Golfers, here's a
Golfers.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's been a change in management here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point.
Studios.
No, just at the Golf Point at Eagle Point.
Oh.
They were being run by a company, a local company here in Indiana. Now it's gone to Kemper Sports, who I have to look up, who is a national company that purchased Fuzzy Zeller's course.
Nice.
But they're a national company, and I don't know. I'm like, hopefully we'll find out if we're still coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios January 1st or not, but it'll just change to else.
By the way, the clip of the recruit is going to be audio only, but the one with Mike Woodson will have video.
All right. What's his name again?
Let me look at it. Malik Thomas.
Yep.
2025 guard.
5-star.
And I got where the point that you wanted me to start it at, but do you want to just play to the end from there? Because from there, it's about 2 minutes long.
Whatever you think. What did you say was Malik what? Thomas?
Malik Thomas. Whenever, I guess if I notice that they get off of the Indiana conversation, I'll just stop it.
Yeah. I'm going to look at you later, Kemper. I got to check you out. God, this is another long week. I mean, I got to go to a funeral tomorrow, so that's why I'm not doing the show from BB's. I've got to.
That's no good.
I'll be down. You know what? I can almost do the show with you.
What do you mean?
I will be doing the show from down there in that area.
Really?
That
Which
would be
funeral
hilarious.
home will you be at?
Well, I'm not going to be doing the damn show from a funeral home.
Well, I know, but I'm curious where you're going to be at. Which funeral home you're going to be at?
You know what? I don't know. I've got to look that up.
I can't even think of the name of the one that I'm thinking of, but I know I'm visualizing it.
And did you send me anything more?
Yesterday, no, I didn't.
What did you send the day before that?
Dane Fife and not Matt Taylor, Michael Corsi.
What's it under?
Hold on, we're coming back. I'll text it to you.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Thursday. The weather is looking better each and every day. It's not in the mornings, though. It's still pretty nippy. But today we're expecting to get all the way up to a balmy 61. But it's going to be a heat surge Friday. An 11-degree increase up to 72. Saturday, that goes to 75. And Sunday and Monday, 77. Smoke them while you got them, people. Smoke them if you got them.
Hey, let me just say that we're for the second straight day, we're in the 40s down here. Now we'll get up to like
straight day, we're in the
70.
40s down here. It's only
It'll
going
get
to be
up to
75
70
today.
again, but it's been chilly here. I had to turn off the air conditioning, Jim.
If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want or not. She's a great realtor, great friend of the show. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. She has not yet picked up my glasses, though, from the golf event that I participated in. I left my glasses there at I forget that course's name. Doesn't matter. My glasses are still there. Malik Thomas is a 2025 five-star guard that Indiana has reached out to. And we got a chance, Rivals had a chance to catch up to him and talk to him a bit about his recruiting. And here's what Malik had to say.
Indiana, I mean, that's not a school that's close to you at all, but they've done a great job at developing guards. What do you like about that program?
It's a great program, great staff. Their coach was in their coach was in the NBA for 10 plus, coaching and playing. So like talking to them and them telling me things and me just listening and learning from them, it's just amazing.
Kansas State, what's been their message?
There you go. Every time I hear a recruit talk, they know, and of course I know Mike Woodson informs them of this, but their fathers are probably telling them this as well, though, that playing in the NBA, even though it's been a minute, but coaching in the NBA, it has not been a minute. And so he has a direct reach out to players that they know, that they may have, I don't know that kids do posters on the walls anymore, but do they?
Backgrounds on their iPads. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe that's the deal. So, but they know and watch the guys that Mike knows, and he can have somebody call a recruit that would, different things like that, but it makes a difference. So,
well, not only that, Jim just dropped out, but I'll add to that point. It's not only the fact that he has those relationships, but these kids have aspirations of getting to the next level. They have aspirations of playing in the NBA. They want to be successful at Indiana. I think we saw again last year that they took another step in the right direction. So, to me, it's more than just having those relationships. It's a lot of these kids, and especially the kids that they're targeting in the recruiting aspect, they have aspirations of getting to the next level. And when you have a coach who knows exactly what it takes to be successful, not just get drafted, but have a long career, that's appealing to a lot of these 4 and 5 star kids.
Tim says IU staff recruit visit 6 recruits yesterday. Yep. You can find that information at thehoosier.com, by the way. Go to thehoosier.com. Alec Lasley and Kyler Staley, Keegan Nicholson, all with great coverage on IU basketball and recruiting going on there. So make sure you hit that up. 6 recruits yesterday, looking at 7-foot 2024 center Samto Cyril. We'll talk more about that as well. Ross said he enjoyed Dane on there was another show. He was on another show yesterday, and again, I have to thank Dane because, I'd been talking, I talked to Dane, but we had been talking a while back about coming on, and I said, all right, just you come on when you're ready, man, when you're comfortable, when it's good for you. And, we'll chat, talk, text in between. And then he called me the day before, which I guess was Monday, and said, hey, what's up? And he said, hey, I'm going on another show on Wednesday. But you wanted me you asked me to come on with you first. And I thought he was going to say, but I got to do this. And he didn't say that. So I'm like, so tomorrow's good? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, wow, all right. So basically I'm giving a big shout out to Dane for honoring that commitment, and really appreciate that because it matters. I mean, going on someplace first, to getting them first, it matters. We were the first to get Jordan Halls when he returned and got the job at IU. We're one of the only, we might be the only outlet, period, non, like ESPN or something like that, to get one-on-ones with Mike Woodson. So
pretty awesome.
We work our butts off to bring you the best coverage possible. But I would love to hear, was anything said that was new, Ross? What are some of the things that we'll talk about that later? I'm sure several other people may have listened to that. But is Kyler joining us now, John?
We can break first.
All right, we're going to do that. And then up next, Kyler Staley will join us, and we'll do just what I said, get you caught up on everything to do with IU recruiting and where they are right now, including those 6 visits yesterday. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends from Barbara Pop Real Estate Services down in Louisville, Southern Indiana. If you're looking for a home in that area, they've served that community for 3 decades. Louisville, Floyd, Clark, Harrison, Scott counties, all down around there. Reach out to Barbara at barbarapop.com or Matt Lincoln at matt@barbarapop.com. We're back with Kyler Staley right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda is.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Kyler.
What's up, G Herbo?
G Herbo.
It's K Herbo, first of all.
There you go.
K Stabo.
Yeah, that's it. Right. That's gonna stick. That's gonna stick.
It is gonna stick.
Yeah, I'm gonna join next week, and then someone's gonna comment and say
It's like K-Bro with Kevin
K-Bro.
Brockway.
We got K-Bro. Or just call it Stay Bro. You don't need the K. Just Stay Bro.
I just go K Stay. K
I like
Stay.
K-Stay.
There you go. Like
That's like that's like K-State, but all right.
Let me fix my camera real quick. Turn around.
Can't beat K-Bro.
K-Bro, I don't know how I didn't think of that. That is an elite nickname.
Yeah. I miss him on the show.
Yeah.
I get to see him every once in a while.
Well, it's just because he's lazy. I'll be honest with you.
Oh,
What do you mean?
He can come on if he wants.
What if he's listening right now and he heard you say that?
Then he should be on.
Send him the link. Get him on.
Then if he's listening, then he really should be on.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you, Kevin works his ass off. I know that.
Oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. I was just sticking him for.
Oh,
I miss having him on here. Yeah, he should start doing a monthly
appearance. He
Cameo.
might be still recovering from the Mets' complete and total destruction.
Yeah, he ought to be used to that.
That may be it. We may not hear from him until spring training.
Man, it's cold out. I had to turn on my car this time and turn my heat on.
Kyler, I had to turn off the air conditioning down here in Florida. It's only
I heard.
For over a month.
You poor
So
thing.
suck it.
You poor thing. Yeah, I had to turn my heat on, and I'm pissed off about that.
Wah, cry, wah.
You know one thing.
If I never had to turn my air conditioner on again, I'd be happy.
True.
All right.
You know something I have not mentioned.
Oh, you got a couple seconds, Jim, if you need something.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay.
Or from Remax Advanced Realty at Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com or 317-298-0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl@IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with me as always. Joined now by Kyler Staley from thehoosier.com for complete coverage of Indiana athletics and recruiting. Make sure you go to thehoosier.com, sign up if you don't have it already. Give Kyler a follow as well as he covers IU basketball. A busy day yesterday on the recruiting trail, Kyler. 6 visits, I understand.
Yeah, the coaching staff, or at least part of the coaching staff, was on the road yesterday. You got a few in the Pittsburgh area, and I think there's going to be a few today. Some in the North Carolina area as well. So, as far as, practice, getting ready for the season and everything, there's a couple of these coaches that are on the road right now still trying to look for that next couple classes potentially coming in the next few years.
Yeah. Who are some of the guys that stand out, or are there any that they have tighter relationships with, etc.?
Well, I mean, one that stands out, and I think we just had him on the show or whatever, heard his audio, was Malik Thomas, 2025 5-star from Pittsburgh. He does have an unofficial visit coming up on November 30th, which is also, I think it's right around the time the IU versus North Carolina game is, if I can remember correctly.
I think that is. Don't they play them November 30th?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it just kind of dawned on me right there. But yeah, he'll be there for that, and you've got Kentucky and Duke looking at him as well. So that's a huge game. I think he's the number 13th ranked in Rivals 25 right now. But dude's a bucket getter. He's just a player that can score in bunches. And then another guy that they're continuing to build a relationship with is Jaden Mustaf. 2024 4-star shooting guard from the North Carolina area. Just recently took a visit to Indiana, I would say probably October 2nd, September 30th, somewhere around there. He's a crafty guard that can create. I believe he told Alec that the relationship with them is still pretty good. Caleb Williams, who was on the visit for at Hoosier Asteria, they just went and visited him. I think it was Kenya Hunter that was there to see him. Another athletic wing. He sees a fit with IU, so that's always good to hear. And there's just a bunch of other guys. I think Kenya Hunter just went and saw Dylan Harper. Again, that's kind of cooled off a little bit, but they're still kind of seeing what they can do. And if there's a new development with that, they're certainly going to take advantage of that. But busy week for the coaching staff right now, getting ready for the season, and then being on the road visiting these recruits still.
Dustin.
Yeah, I mean,
he's out. He's like, why you don't come to me? I don't have
out in La La Land out here. I'm still shivering from all this cold that we've gotten down here in Florida.
Well, and most of these recruits are out of state, Kyler, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the 6 yesterday, they were all out of state.
Yeah. And I know people keep talking about that, and it's just, I think it's a timing thing for Indiana. They didn't get in soon enough. You have to build relationships. And when they first hit, Purdue, teams, even Michigan State had so much more. They already had so much more going relationship wise with so many players that it's going to take a couple of years for Indiana to start pulling these kids out of within the state. And I think it's that 24 class, or maybe the 25 class rather, where it really starts. Trent Sisley, Jalen Harrelson, those type of guys. But until then, and even then, this staff is just going after the best talent that they can go after. Now, you have to be able to land some of that talent, and they have, because under Archie Miller, that was he would just go after the best, offer the best, but he had no chance of landing. He would go after people he had no chance of landing. I don't want we'll see the staff get close to doing that. They do put a lot of offers out.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they build relationships early. I will say that. And then, back to your point, I agree with you. I think it's going to be the 25 class where you see them starting to pull the in-state guys. Obviously in the 24 class, you still have Flory Badunga, but we all know the situation with that, so no need to go deep into that again. But, the 24 class, the Division I, the high major Division I guys, they're pretty much all taken up, and most of them are already going to Purdue. So, that class is, you kind of got to skip over that class a little bit. And then you focus on the 25 class in state-wise, and you focus on Jalen Harrelson and Trent Sisley, which, that relationship for both those guys are still going very, very well. But yeah, at this point in time, they have to go out of state, and they have to extend a lot of offers right now. Credit to the staff though, for, keeping in contact with all these guys that they're offering, being at their games, being at their workouts and practices right now. It shows you how much they're trying to build just the best team, not just a bunch of in-state guys, not really going that Purdue route that Matt Painter does, which has worked successfully for him. But with Indiana, to get to that next step, get to that next level, they have to recruit the best players, and they have to land the best players, in my opinion.
Well, I always feel like if this is going to sound weird, because you're always going to want the best players, but there's also been some times in the past, I don't know, maybe decade or so, outside of that team with Zeller and Oladipo and Jordan Hulls, that Indiana really hasn't had one of those glue guys. One of those guys. Race Thompson probably fits that category best. But when you're not in the running for some of these higher end players, those are when you can find some of those glue guys. I mean, do you get the sense that they are looking? I don't know how to phrase this properly. They're obviously looking for the best talent they can get, but do they put an emphasis on a certain type of player who maybe he's not the best scorer, maybe he's not the best rebounder, but he's the guy that will do whatever it takes
That's the old Bob Knight. That's the Bob Knight
Right.
style recruiting there.
This is what I'm saying. Do they put an emphasis on that at all?
I don't think so, personally, Kyler.
I agree with that in a way. Not right now. When I think of a glue guy, I think you develop into a glue guy. I think when Archie Miller recruited, we'll use Race Thompson. That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
I think when he recruited Race Thompson, he expected big things, kind of, how Woodson's expecting when he's recruiting these players and everything. But Race Thompson just developed into that glue guy. I think that's something that you just got to accept when you're on a team. It's not even Indiana, just with any college basketball team or an NBA team, for example. Like, you just grow into that role as a glue guy. Every team needs a guy that does all the dirty work. Everybody needs the guy that makes all the hustle plays. Trey Galloway, I think, is another guy that could fit that bill, and he's starting to have that role as that glue guy. But as far as recruiting glue guys, I don't think teams really do that. Not at the high major level, like in Indiana or Kentucky or someone like that. But they're important for sure. And I think as you get more comfortable in your rotation and the roster or whatever, you kind of accept that role as a glue guy. But I understand what you were coming from that. But that's a really good question.
Here's where a glue guy comes from, in my opinion. When you're recruited, you're the best player on your team. Every kid that's on a, say, IU's basketball team was the best player on their team. Some of them are not seeing a minute one. They're on the bench. But
is that still true?
So I think so.
With
Trey Galloway was the best player on his team. Anthony O'Neal was the best player on his team. But my point is, once you get to this next level, just being the best player on your team is not enough, because everybody else was the best player on their team as well. And a lot of them are just better, period. So you find a role. And sometimes that is being a glue guy. I'm going to use Trey Galloway as the perfect example. He was the best player on his team, probably, most likely, don't you think? Yep. And that included scoring and doing a lot of other things that he does not do now and does not need to do now and can't do at the level that he could in high school, but he can do other things. That is what I call being a glue guy. There's an example of how I think a glue guy comes into being.
I agree with most of what you're saying. The only caveat I would say is I think more players probably understand a little bit more of their role now. Now, there might still be some examples, but with the way that travel ball is and the way it's year round, I feel like the players probably have a better understanding of where they fit in, where they commit. Just because you see these guys constantly, you're playing against them, you're playing with them. You're dead on, and most of these players for their high school team are probably the best players, unless you're looking at Mount Verde or something along those lines. But I think that there's a little bit more of an understanding. Like 15, 20 years ago, probably that would have been a 100% accurate point. Now I would say it's maybe 85% accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes from both ways. A coach is looking for a guy that can fit into the rotation, and the player, when he's being recruited by all these schools, that he wants to find the best fit for him. I mean, Woodson goes out and he could recruit. He didn't recruit CJ, but it could be like, hey, CJ, I need a shooter. I need guys to come in and I can shoot it from the deep ball. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's all about fit at the end of the day. Whether that be coaches, whether that be a player looking for a certain spot on a roster. Whatever's going to fit for them is going to be best. And I would say, 8 times out of 10, anybody that's coming into a team was the best player from their high school team. Now that's a little different with AAU ball, because you can use Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal as an example. Both those guys play on the same AAU team.
Yeah.
So who you're going to make is who's going to be better in that situation. You can arguably say it was Anthony Leal because he was Mr. Basketball. So, I mean, it's just certain scenarios. It's all about fit at the end of the day, in my opinion.
We were talking about games and that visit for Malik Thomas on November 30th for the game, number 13 Indiana hosting number 1 North Carolina. That will be their 7th game They should be 6-0 coming into that. Ross just mentioned he saw that the IU Xavier game sold out this morning when tickets went up for sale. Yeah, that's not a shocker at all. That happens before that North Carolina game. That will be on November 18th. So let's see, November 18th, Indiana having, they'll have.
No, it's on the road, though. Remember, that's at Xavier.
Oh, I know.
Indiana.
Right. And that's a 6 p.m. game. That's the only, and that's a little scary. I mean, that's going to be a scary game for Indiana. That's only their third game of the season, it looks like. Yeah, that'd only be their third game of the season. Wow. That's like going to Maui or any place else. You get to get tested early, but going to a road environment like that early on, I don't know. That's wow. That's a little ouch. That's going to be a test, no doubt.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that game because there's a lot of storylines with that. Obviously, you got Sean Miller returning. You know the history of the Millers, and, Indiana, and you also got Jerome Hunter, a former IU basketball player that's also on that team as well. And you got Indiana's first true road game of the season. Xavier's supposed to be pretty good this year. They're not a ranked team heading into the season, but they're going to be tough. They're going to be competitive. And you're going to find out how this Indiana team is, right off the bat. If they could go in, they could still win at Xavier. That's pretty huge for them, and that's going to continue to build momentum as, the non-conference schedule continues.
And let's all say it together real quick. Xavier, and for the Indiana basketball player, it's Xavier. We're going to have to learn to differentiate the two.
True. we do call him X.
That's true. At least you have that going or he has that going for him with his own name.
Do you know what Xavier's logo is?
It's an X.
An X.
Hey, quick story about Xavier. I applied there to go to college way back when. Do you know the representatives pitched?
Obviously, you didn't get in, huh?
I honestly don't remember because I applied to a lot of colleges. Probably not, but the only pitch that the college rep there made to me and my friend as we walked by the college fair was the male to female ratio is 65 to 35 at the time. So we both applied immediately because there's no better pitch to an 18-year-old.
That's awesome.
So that's my Xavier story.
Hey, I got denied. I applied
how'd that work out for
colleges, and I got denied 2 of them, and Indiana State luckily accepted me. So it worked out.
Well, I don't know how I got into Indiana, but I snuck in.
I never even applied to Indiana.
They used the wrong stamp.
Yeah,
they meant to, but they went with approved on accident.
I gotta ask Kyler real quick. You say you went to Indiana State. What is it like knowing that the federal death row prison is right around the corner from
It's
that
interesting.
campus?
That's one of our bragging points. You got Larry Bird, and then it goes to prison. I mean, that's easy enough, right?
Bragging point.
Yeah.
Here we got Larry Bird on this hand, and we got the frying pan over here.
I don't know what else you'd want.
I've heard of 2 nicknames, Kyler, and I'm interested to know which side of the fence you fall on here. I've heard it called Terrible Hote, and I've heard it called Terradise.
I've
never.
Baby.
I have never in my life heard Terradise.
I've heard Terradise.
Oh,
yeah,
we said
that's
it a lot.
that's a good one. That's a good one. But Terrible Hote is the only one I've ever heard.
Now,
and that's not fair. And that's not really fair. Now there's a place called the Ballyho?
The ballyhoo. I think that's the real that's the word, but we called it the Bally. Yeah.
The
Dollar
Bally.
Wells nights on Thursdays. Yeah.
I was there one night with a guy. There he is. There he is.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro. I don't understand why K-Bro does not, instead of making, you need to pop in. John, you should just start sending him the link and he can pop in whenever he wants.
Every day for cameo appearances from Kevin Brockway.
Whenever he's, you know what? Hey,
he's also
K-Bro,
commenting on Facebook, which doesn't help us. He should be commenting on YouTube.
But also,
hold on, everything he does not good enough.
You guys are missing the best part. He's mentioning the Jets. What about the Mets?
Oh.
You got to turn the page on that.
Oh, he's too busy. He's too busy to talk to us.
I told
He's
you.
too good for it. He's too
He
good for
knows
us.
he's just going to get roasted by you. That's the problem.
That's not true. I miss him.
We all do.
Man, he's big timing us now. Hey, bro, we appreciate you, brother. We miss you. Hope you're having a good time down there in Gainesville, though.
It's a little chilly, isn't it, Kevin?
What didn't work out well? Oh, the Mets. Yeah, that did not work out well. No, it did not. Hey, okay, bro, we could have our buddy Schwarbs, Kyle Schwarber, going for his second World Series ring with the Phillies. If they can get past Sandy, what happened in last night's game? Or the
Padres had they had a big fifth inning and they ended up winning, and then the Astros, the cheaters, beat the Yankees. I'm still not convinced they're not cheating.
Now that's a tough series. I'm like, I can't stand either team.
I would rather see the Yankees win because of the Astros.
We'll find out. Hey, make sure you give Kyler Staley a follow at Kyler Staley on Twitter, and go to thehoosier.com, like I said, for complete coverage of Indiana athletics, recruiting news, and all that goes with that. Kyler, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'll see you next week.
You bet. Kyler Staley joining us here. We're back with Chris Denari after this. Cabral still hitting us the Foden fills. The Padres 5 runs in the 5th. They won 8-5. But hey, that series tied 1-1. Chris Denari from the Pacers up next, right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Hey, this is Jim.
Hello,
How come we
Chris.
don't start calling San Diego the Fathers instead of the Padres?
What's up, Dustin?
Funny.
The Fathers. The Padres.
You should have seen your friend yesterday. He was why did you yeah, I understand. He was all decked out yesterday, Chris. He had the hat.
Dustin. I was like, who are you talking about?
Yeah,
Who did I say? What did I say?
You said
you just said your friend.
Oh. He had the jersey. I'm sure he had the shorts on. I didn't see it. And maybe the shoes. I don't know. I didn't see it.
I do have blue and yellow shoes that I was wearing yesterday. They're not specifically Pacers, but they are blue and yellow.
Please tell me you have the tearaway pants. There is nothing greater in this world than the tearaway warm-up pants.
I don't have tearaway pants, but I do have a pair of Pacers sweatpants.
I have
the tearaway IU pants.
I need to get a pair of just any. I don't care what they are. I remember back in our high school, they snapped down the sides.
Yep.
I'm like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Really? You're too late. You can't just open the bottoms and just take them off like normal people.
Mm-hmm.
How's Chris Denari doing?
I'm doing good. I mean, it was an interesting game last night. I mean, I said at the end, they had 43 years of experience on the floor. We had 17. No, I mean, I think the Wizards, I think they could be pretty good if they stay healthy. Bradley Beal is still really good. They're very deep. They've got a lot of, they bring 3 or 4 guys off the bench that have been starters in the NBA. So we had some guys that didn't play very well. But I thought all in all, it was good. It was all right.
They didn't fold. They fought till the end.
No,
Although I have to say, can they please stop giving me an aneurysm on the first game? This is 2 years in a row now.
Yeah. I mean, just think if Halliburton hits that 3 and
I know
possibly go overtime.
I think was it Buddy Hield that got the rebound, and I wish he would have just went up with it to make it a 1-point game.
Yeah.
I think that would have put more pressure on him.
Yeah. Yeah, because there was still 30 seconds left.
Right. You're still getting the ball back.
Yeah.
A $19 keg. Are you kidding me?
Jim's in his own world. Here we go.
Come right now and get yours today.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Thursday. Chris Denari from the Pacers joins us now. This is brought to you by the Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bedford, a great place to catch a Pacers game or join friends for lunch. Welcome aboard, Mr. Chris Denari. The season has commenced.
Yes. 2 days in.
Didn't come with a win, but that's okay. The season has started. Benedict Mathurin looked good. Someone mentioned earlier, what was it that they Mathurin and Halliburton had a 113 rating together, and the league average was like 108 last year. So just showing some good chemistry between those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese made it a point this year. He got a little bigger, a little stronger. He needs to look for a shot more. He needs to score more. As good an assist man and point guard as he is, he's got to do the other things, and he did it very well last night. He had 26 points. He had 7 assists. He was 10 of 18 from the field. 3 of 6 from 3. And then Mathurin last night in about 28 minutes had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. So, those two guys played very, very well. I thought Jalen Smith in the second half played well. Some guys didn't play well. Duarte had a tough night. I thought Isaiah Jackson had a tough night. And then, you find out about 2 hours before the game that your starting center, who is hoping to come back after missing 40 games last year, he steps on somebody's foot and sprains his ankle during individual workouts at about 5 o'clock. So that made it tough to not have Miles Turner on the floor. But I know, Dustin, you watched it. All in all, I thought it was a good performance. You would have liked to have won, but you were down 18 with about 5 or 6 minutes to play, and you were able to nearly force overtime. So, all in all, a decent night.
So 2 things that kind of stood out to me, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on both of these. The one thing, obviously, you mentioned Miles Turner, and then not only that, but the rotation was kind of Rick Carlisle had to go a different route from the beginning, because not only is Miles Turner out, Jalen Smith picks up 2 quick fouls in that game. So you probably weren't able to go to your traditional rotation the way he wanted to in that game. The second thing I noticed, and I know that the Pacers ended up with 5 or 6 more fast break points than Washington, but I thought that there were some, I don't know if chemistry issues, poor decision-making. There were a couple times where I thought the Pacers could have gotten some easy baskets on those fast breaks, and it was not playing with each other, maybe not talking. I don't know what the issue was, but I think I can think of 3 possessions where they drove down the floor. You thought they were going to get easy points, and they came away with nothing, or they got fouled and missed the free throws.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're spot on. I remember one time Terry Taylor came down. It was a 3-on-1, and in traffic, he put up a really awkward shot. I think Buddy did it as well. Yeah, when you have those 3 4-on-1s, you've got to convert. I thought throughout the night that Washington's size, especially Porzingis at 7'3", Gafford, Kuzma's big and strong, they gave the Pacers a lot of problems. In the preseason, I thought the Pacers were very effective in the paint, led by Benedict Mathurin. Last night in the paint, the Pacers only scored 34 points, and they were 17 of 43. That's less than 50%. That's not acceptable when you get the ball that close to the basket. So give a lot of credit to Washington. I thought especially early, their defense really forced the Pacers into perimeter shooting. I think it was the first 8 to 10 shots that the Pacers took were all 3-point shots. Now, they ended up a decent percentage last night. They shot 36%. They made 15 threes. So that's good. But it took them a while to sort of figure things out. And to your point, Dustin, the rotations were a little bit clunky because Turner was out. And then, as you said, Jalen Smith got those 2 early fouls.
And one of the things that interested me during the broadcast, and it was Jeremiah Johnson, the sideline report, I think it was in the first half of the game, apparently said TJ McConnell said something along the lines of they don't have interest in guarding us. If we defend them, we'll get back into this game. I mean, I'm obviously not on the floor and I'm not playing in the game. I'm not even in the arena. I didn't get the sense that Washington's defense was that bad. I thought they played pretty well. Maybe he saw something in how they were defending. I don't know what the case there was. What was your thought when you heard that? I thought it was strange.
And he might have been referring to the last couple of years because if you look at games that the Pacers and the Wizards had played, they had been in like the high 120s. 2 years ago, Washington beat the Pacers 154 to 141. Yeah. Right. I did think that their attention to detail defensively was much better last night.
I did too.
They brought in a veteran in DeLon Wright. I think Monte Morris is a decent defender at the point. So I thought they were much better. And we really haven't seen them. We saw 17 games with Porzingis last year, but he never played with Bradley Beal. So they're sort of a team like the Pacers that you really don't know what they have until they play a number of games. I said this, I don't think they're a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference, which would automatically qualify you for the playoffs. But I think they're a definite team to contend for a play-in and maybe get in as the 7th or 8th seed. And part of that's going to depend on health. Bradley Beal played only 40 games last year. So I look at them after game 1 and said, they're not a bad team. We'll just have to see how that plays out, the rest of the way.
And then we'll look at really impressed with Bennedict Mathurin. I thought I probably put way too much stock in this, but he stepped into the game. He made his first shot. I mean, absolutely no jitters. I was impressed with the way he attacked. He shot. He wasn't afraid to shoot the 3-point shot. It seems like early in his career, Rick Carlisle's giving him the green light, has a lot of confidence in him. He plays with a lot of confidence. And I feel like I said, some of the things were clunky last night. The rotation had to be off because of the injury, because of the foul situation. You only play four preseason games, so you still don't have quite that chemistry. I'm really interested to see what this team looks like here, obviously in the future. But for his first professional game that counted in the record book, I was really impressed with Bennedict Mathurin and his. He wasn't afraid to attack the basket, take some big shots, and I was 19 points in your first NBA game. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is. And Quinn Buckner said last night at some point, he goes, at what point will he work his way into the starting lineup? He said he's got to earn it, but he goes, I think he's going to earn it pretty quickly because he's a guy that, he played 27 minutes last night. That's the 3rd most on the team. He's going to get his minutes, whether he starts or comes off the bench. It's just he's going to be a guy that I think you look at specifically 2 guys, Halliburton and Mathurin. I mean, they're going to be Pacers for a long time. I mean, those are the 2 guys that you're building around. And you hope that guys like Jalen Smith and Isaiah Jackson and Chris Duarte, those young guys take a step. I mean, that's what the front office is looking for this year. I think they know what they have in Halliburton and Mathurin. I mean, those are 2, I believe, rock solid NBA players that have a chance both to be all-stars. The question is what do these other guys do? How do they raise their level? Because that's the way your team gets better, is you've got to have those other guys play better. Duarte got smacked in the face late, but I just thought he looked out of sorts. I think back to his first game last year, he had 27 points in Charlotte. And last night he really struggled. But again, it's just one game, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night against the Spurs.
What are you looking forward to now that the season has begun? Our friend Bob Kravitz, who's on with us each week as well, he's got a piece out right now suggesting that the Pacers should tank, which he doesn't, everyone's talking about Wembanyama. But the Pacers have never done that, and I don't see them doing that now. I think the hope is, and this is hard to say for it to come out right, but for them to make it through the season like last night, playing really, really well. It's hard to not want to see your team win,
right?
But But looking at the big picture, if I'm a fan, if I was looking at it from a fan standpoint, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be okay with them playing like this all season, because I'm looking at next year and the year after that, which that's what it's going to take. If Pacers fans want to see the Pacers in the conference finals and potentially in the NBA finals, that's what it's going to take. To me, you're going to have to do that, and to get a superstar or two in here.
Yeah, you have to play the long game. I mean, I can assure you the guys and the coaches, the players and the coaches want to win. I mean, they were playing last night.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no question about that. The difference is it's not the NFL. In the NFL, if you have the worst record, you get the number one pick, no question. If you have the worst record in the NBA, you have a 14% chance of getting the number one pick. So you don't have to, I guess the word is totally tank, because there's no guarantee if you have the worst record in the NBA that you're going to get the number one pick. So I think, I saw Bob last night after the game, and, we were talking, and it will be an interesting year, because here's the thing, guys. I don't even think you have to try, because I think the league is so balanced and there's a lot of parity. Sure, there's those championship contenders, the Warriors, the Bucks, the Sixers, maybe the Nets, Phoenix, you can go on and on. But look at a team like last night. Washington did not make the playoffs last year. They've got two All-Stars, Porzingis and Beal. They've got Kyle Kuzma, who had the best year of his career. He averaged 18 points last year. They've got Will Barton and Monte Moore. I mean, there are a lot of good players and teams in this league. So you can go into these games, even against a team that doesn't have a good record, and it's tough to win a game. So I just think this team, from the players and coaches, you just go out and put your best effort on the floor. That's what people demand. That's what they deserve. And that's what this team will give them. And then at the end of the year, we'll see how it all shakes out.
One of the things I was really impressed with, and I can't tell you, Chris, if this is a new clip or if I just saw it for the first time during last night's halftime during the broadcast, but I was really impressed with the understanding from the players about what is happening. I mean, the organization is not pulling the wool over the eyes. They know there's going to be some growing pains. They understand that this is for the long game. That doesn't mean the players and coaches aren't trying to win, as you stated, but it does lend itself to, they understand that we need to get better. This is a developmental year. And I think Miles Turner said it, we're going to continue to play hard. It's going to be a developmental process. We got to get better with our chemistry. We got to get better in a lot of different facets. But maybe at the end of the year, maybe we sneak in. Maybe we surprise some people. They all understand there's no expectations this year. And I think that sometimes in professional sports, there can be this I don't know if players can be misled or not, but the understanding that maybe you can be a playoff team. I mean, I just get the sense that the Pacers understand what they have, what they are trying to accomplish, and maybe the wins don't come this year, but there's a big picture, and the organization has been very open about what that big picture is.
Yeah, all you have to do also is look at the two teams last night and what they did with their first-round draft pick. Benedict Mathurin, the number 6 pick, played 27 minutes and scored 19 points and is going to be a key player in the reset or the rebuild of this franchise. Johnny Davis, who we all know out of Wisconsin, Big Ten player, the number 10 pick, very, very talented, didn't even get on the floor last night for the Wizards. That tells you where those two teams are, right? The Wizards are in the now. They've got Bradley Beal. They've got Kristaps Porzingis. They're trying to win now and make a playoff run. The Pacers are developing their young talent, and they know they're good players, but they're doing this for the long game. So that's two different looks that you saw last night. A Washington team with a top 10 draft pick that never saw the floor, and the Pacers with Benedict Mathurin, who is their second leading scorer.
I know we got to get you out of here shortly, but tomorrow night, Pacers, another home game, this time against the Spurs. What do we see from San Antonio in this matchup?
Very young team. They're in a similar situation as the Pacers. They're trying to rebuild through the draft. I mean, you're looking at the Pacers and the Spurs, who over the last 20 plus years have been, even though the Pacers have not won a title and San Antonio's won 5, if you look at the Pacers in the East, they've been one of the top teams in the East for the last 20 years. I mean, a lot of people are not going to recognize the Spurs roster because they've made a lot of trades. So they're very, very young. They start a rookie, a couple of second-year players. Trey Jones, I think, is in his second or third year. Romeo Langford is now in San Antonio. He played 9 minutes last night off the bench. Isaiah Roby, who played at Nebraska, comes off the bench. They've got Doug McDermott, who was a Pacer a few years ago. So they got blown out at home last night. They were down by as many as 35 to the Hornets in San Antonio last night. They got beat by 27. So, you would say tomorrow night for the Pacers, it's a game you should win. But, as I said, it's the NBA and anything can happen.
Speaking of Romeo Langford being down in San Antonio, he's on the cut line. He's got to make that team. Yeah. And I know that you are not watching every team right now this early in the season, but you pay attention to everything that's going on and special people like that. Where do you think he's sitting right now?
Well, I mean, he's definitely in a situation. What is this, his 4th year? So this is the last year of his rookie deal. He's sort of in a prove it time because, the first deal, or I guess the second deal you can sign, or the first deal after your rookie year is really where you make your money and you start your ascension as a pro. And so for Romeo, was injured a lot in Boston and was traded to San Antonio. This is a very important year for him to see what he will be in the future. So he'll be a guy to watch. He's a very talented player. There are a lot of talented players, guys, that don't make it after the first few years in the NBA. And they have to figure out, do they use the G League to get back in? Do they go overseas? Hopefully that won't happen to Romeo. But I agree with you, Jim. This is a very important year for him.
Absolutely. Chris Denari, the season is back. The gardening tools are being put in the shed. It's time to go, baby.
It's time to go.
Hey, you guys were talking
so much.
Hold on, you and Quinn were talking about the golf course last night on the broadcast. Are you going to squeak an 18 holes in this weekend?
I don't think I will. Quinn will. I can guarantee it Saturday morning.
I won't tell you where, but I can tell you when and where Quinn will be. Where are you all this weekend?
Well, we're home. We're home in Bloomington on Saturday morning, I'm sure.
I guarantee. Yes, I could tell you. I'm not going to tell you where, but I will guarantee you I can tell you exactly where.
I asked him the other day when Mike Woodson was at the game at the Knicks preseason game, and I said, "Okay, Quinn, you got to tell me who's the better golfer, you or Woody?" And he wouldn't tell me.
I guarantee you, I'll tell you. And I've not seen either of them play, but I know Quinn plays way too damn much.
He plays a lot. I'd say
not
Quinn.
to.
I'd say
yes.
Quinn.
I'm going to go with Quinn. Mike's too big. It's hard to be a good golfer when you're that big too.
Right.
I mean,
I would say Quinn. Yeah, Quinn can hit the ball. I've played with him before, and I'd put my money on Quinn.
Yeah, I've never played with him or seen him play, but I would be a blind draw on that as well. Chris Denari, I can't thank you enough, brother. Hope you have a great weekend.
All right, we'll talk to you next week, guys. Thanks. See you, Dustin. See you, Jim. See you, John.
Thank you, Chris Denari, the great one from the Pacers. Brought to you by Que Bello Italian Restaurant right here on the square in Bloomington, where you can taste the southern traditions of South Italy right here in southern Indiana. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio to close it out right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting
Que Bello Ristorante. Che Bello. How many people call it Che Bello and they don't know?
Everybody.
Che Bello.
I feel like there's a couple restaurants like that around here that I can't think of at the moment.
Tell me what state you are from with 2 words. I got it. Breaded tenderloin.
Indianapolis 500.
But you just included that in the
no proper nouns.
Breaded
No
tenderloin.
Hot brown.
Hot brown
on food. A hot brown. That's more of a Louisville thing, not really.
What the hell is a hot brown?
It's a Louisville thing.
What is it?
I know I've never had one, but I know it has ham and like cinnamon and stuff, right, Jim? Or am I sounding stupid?
Basketball, race cars.
Does it be 2 words or a 2-word phrase?
Or race car, 1 word or 2?
That's 1 word.
Yeah, I think it is 1 word. It just says this just popped up. It says, "Tell me what state you are from" with 2 words. So it probably doesn't need to be.
Okay,
you could probably use that.
It's not
basketball,
a phrase,
race cars would be good.
Horses and basketball for Kentucky.
Oh, now, okay, a hot brown.
Look up a hot brown. I might be wrong specifically about what it was, but I know that's a Louisville thing.
Yeah, that is definitely a Louisville thing.
A hot brown sandwich is an American hot sandwich originally created at the Brown Hotel in Louisville. Well, tell me the damn ingredients. Dear God, come on. Ingredients. Is an open-faced sandwich of turkey breast and ham and bacon covered in creamy Mornay sauce and baked or broiled until the bread is crisp and sauce begins to brown. Cheddar cheese or American cheese may be added to the sauce. For garnishes, Jim will love this: mushroom slices, tomatoes, occasionally the canned peach. Interesting. All right.
You learn something new every day. Here we go.
Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. If you're down in southern Indiana, right off of I-65, man, pizza, burgers, beer, everything's made fresh daily. The food is it is delicious. 50 plus TVs. There's a place to watch an IU game. I used to do it a lot. We should talk about mushrooms.
All right.
I just threw that out there. I was just kidding. Earlier when we were talking about Terre Haute, who was it that said they used to get kegs for, it was like, what was it, $19? $19. There it is. Howie, at the Ballyhoo, they had $19 kegs in 1981 that fit into the dorm laundry cart.
Beautiful. That's man. Awesome.
I mean, are you kidding me? $19? That kegs, depending on how many people, that could be a weekender.
Yeah, it very much could. How much does a keg cost? I've never purchased a keg.
Well, Tim said in the mid 80s, they paid $25 for pony kegs and $45 for full kegs. I think that's what it cost then. I don't have a clue what it would be now. I can tell you this: when I was in high school, we had junior skip day. It was organized. Went through 6 kegs of beer, which would pale in comparison to our senior skip day. We sold tickets to our senior skip day, which was held outside of the county, out in some farm. 14 kegs. I will never forget this. We went through 14 kegs.
I don't think I had my first drink till I was 21.
I didn't say I drank. That was the other people. That was everybody else.
Exactly. You were just there for the soda and the candy.
Yes, exactly.
I'm trying to figure out what a cost of a keg pricing would be. It looks like $150 seems to be about the average for like a Bud Light or Budweiser.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, how much?
It says keg pricing $155.
Wow. Where is that? Not that I want to give them but Ballyhoo's Old Mill was very cheap by the keg. That's crazy. Pete says, look up the Edinburgh Diner and look at the size of their breaded tenderloin. I'll have to do that. But I can already guess it's probably like a hubcap, which
yes. When I lived in Kennesaw, there was a food truck there, and I can't remember the name of it, but they served the side was on the truck said serving Indiana's famous breaded tenderloin. How about that?
Well, I can tell you right now, I've not been a big tenderloin fan because they just beat the crap out of them. I mean, I know you're supposed to, but it ends up being this big gigantic hubcap thing with this little bitty. It looks like a hub.
It does.
Cover. The bun looks like a hub cover on a hubcap. But this is going to sound self-serving, but I can tell you without question, the absolute best tenderloin I've ever had is the Hoosier pork tenderloin from Southern Stone, and it's $15.
Nice.
Comes with all the onion, pickle, basil aioli served on a brioche bun. You go to McDonald's and you get a meal, you're spending $10.
Yeah,
this
that's
is
true.
$5 more for craft-made food. It's
basically 2 sandwiches.
But it's delicious. I mean, it is not kidding. Ross said there, you can't remember the name, but there was a place in Gnawbone that a killer breaded tenderloin. Well, if you're selling tenderloin in Gnawbone, it better be killer. Just because of all the names that go with that. Let's see. Ross says, telling Pete he had that the last time he was up. The floating head calendar posters. Haven't talked about them. They have returned. Rudy giving a shout out to Eddie's Drive-In in Indianapolis for a tenderloin. The floating head calendar posters have returned. Let's see. Was it 3 years ago they were still free, right?
Floating head calendar posters.
It's the poster with the heads of the players.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yes.
I think that they were still free 3 years ago. Unless
now
you
they're
ordered them. If you could pick them up, you could go and just pick them up at Assembly Hall. They'd make them readily available. Now, you know how much they are? They cost you
$5.
Keep going.
$10.
You're
20?
closer. No, way too high. You were close at 10. $12. $12.
Is it because do the players get compensation now for this?
Oh,
absolutely.
I did not even think of that. Good call, John.
Absolutely. It is because of NIL. Cost you $12.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure the players are only getting like a quarter or something, but I mean, I have no idea what they get from it, but I mean, why would you not?
No, that makes sense. That's something I would have never thought about. Good call on that, John. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a big calendar guy.
Well, people collect those things, man.
I know.
They're
I know.
They're poster size too. And I'm like, if you've got them all, what the hell are you doing with them? Because they've been coming out since like 1981 or 2.
Right.
So
I remember
80s, 90s.
I remember in elementary and
in
high school. In elementary
40,
and in high
like
school.
43 years now. So
Yeah.
42 of those things.
All of my teachers, well, not all of them, but a large majority of them had those posters in their room, or those calendars in their room. So I do know that they collect them. It was new every year. But that's a cool way to do some NIL stuff. That's an easy way to do some NIL stuff. And I guess it's not outrageous. I don't know what a typical calendar costs, but $10 probably for a nice one is probably right in the ballpark. So you get one specifically to Indiana, $12 ain't bad, especially if you're a collector.
It's not. It's just when it goes from 0 to 12.
Right. Yeah. I got you.
I remember running into Pat Graham last year. He had to drive up from Evansville because he's a farmer rep and he gives them out to his doctors and whatnot.
Oh, nice.
But he came up to buy a bunch last year, and so they were like $3 last year.
Oh wow!
I'm pretty sure they were like I'm pretty sure they were like $3 last year. So
it's quite a spike.
Yeah, because I mean, at $3.50, that's still if you're picking up 150 of those things to hand out, or I don't know how many you're getting. Maybe he's only getting 50. But 50 times 12, that's $600.
That's quite a price tag.
I don't know that these doctors are going to get their posters this year.
They may not. Jennifer says she bought 3 at $12 each plus shipping. I know Jennifer uses them for the transfer portal too. I've seen those pictures on Twitter.
Oh yeah, she crosses people off.
Yep. I thought that was really clever.
That's pretty funny.
5 lefts is still waiting.
If Jennifer, if someone hits the portal, she takes a Post-it and puts it over their face. 5 Lefts has ordered his calendar weeks ago. He's still waiting. So, Howie, that couldn't touch our record.
3 cakes in 2.5 hours. All right.
Yeah, that was rookie stuff, man. We had 14. We killed it. Brian says, yeah, and Gnawbone had them cut at Nashville IGA. That's funny. They were more than $3 last year. She's pretty sure. Jennifer says, I think it was $3 and something, wasn't it? I don't remember. I don't remember. But regardless, I don't think it was anywhere close to 12. But it is what it is. That's the world you're in.
Right.
Players are paid. You have to pay for their services. So there's that.
Paying for the photo shoot.
Hey, you got to do it. How would I feel if IU football team pursued Deion Sanders for their next head coach? Well, first of all, they'll have to get into the position of looking for a new head coach. They are not there. So that's a hard question to answer at this point. But if the position were open, I would have no problem at all. I mean, he's been successful. He's not coming. I'm not saying that. He's just asking. I'm answering his question. He said, how would I feel? If IU were in the position of looking for a head coach, and only if that was the case, I would be fine with it, because I think he would love the opportunity, as a matter of fact, to do at an Indiana at the big time level what he's doing at the HB.
That's true.
CU level. Yep. Because people are going to say, well, anybody could do that down there. That's, lower level football, but you can't come to the Big Ten and turn a doormat around.
I think he could.
Oh, I guarantee you. You think players are not going to come play for Deion? Get out of here. And you think Deion, and with that kind of money, and I keep cutting you off, and I got yelled at yesterday by someone on social media.
It's all good.
And he'll have so many more resources at his disposal to do that.
I was going to say the recruiting would improve dramatically for Indiana. And I think that they've recruited actually pretty well under Tom Allen. So
they have. They had the greatest recruiting class in history.
Exactly. But I think it would be even better if Deion came up. I think he's going to be a strong candidate for that job at Georgia Tech. I don't know that for a fact. He's got ties to Atlanta. I think he would do very well in the recruiting aspect. Let me tell you something. Kirby Smart does not want that to happen, because I don't know that Deion could turn Georgia Tech into a power like Clemson or something. But I guarantee he will get some of the recruits that Georgia wants and Georgia has owned for a long time. So that's something to keep an eye on. I agree. There would be no issue if Indiana did pursue him. I just don't think that's going. I don't think that's going to happen because I think Indiana's in a good spot.
But that's another question.
1 minute.
Right.
Whether it's going to happen or not. It's just the what if. But so there you go. Five Lefts thinks it would change the fortune of IU football. Mike says he would bring name recognition. I agree with all that. Hey, back tomorrow to do this again. Of course, we'll have Alec Lasley on with us to get you caught up completely on the week in recruiting as he does his Friday recruiting notebook for the Hoosier.com. Also, let's see, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star should be around. And we've got the Red Zone. It's college football. We'll talk about the big games coming up on the weekend. And I'm done. I will not be doing any betting this weekend.
We'll see.
I'm done.
He's learned.
You watch. Hey, it's been a great day again, as always. I can't thank everybody enough. Huge thanks to Matt Taylor from the Colts, Chris Denari of the Pacers, of course, Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with me each and every day as our co-host here on Indiana Sports Beat. John, the producer. Most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. But we will be back to do it again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports